Annette with Inspired Homes and RE/MAX 100, and you are here with Chuck Lambdin. Thanks, Chuck, for coming today.
Thanks for having me, Diane.
And this is Friday Morning Life Inspired, and we do these stories every Friday morning at 9:30, and so we're glad that you could join us. We have a story from Chuck. As you guys on Facebook know, every time we do this, we're asking questions about what was life like before some trajectory change moment in your life that made you now inspired. So the ... in the middle from life ... inspired is kind of like and then God. Okay. And so we're going to talk. I actually have two stories that I'm going to ask Chuck about. So first, I want to know how you started church in a bar. Okay. Church in a bar, and this is Good Friday.
Yeah, first of all, it's Good Friday, and it's all about forgiveness, isn't it?
Oh,
Jesus
amen.
Done for us. So
yeah.
Best Friday to be on the air. I love it.
That's awesome. Okay, so what was life like? What were you doing in life and stuff before some kind of a trajectory change moment that had you start church in a bar?
Well, my wife and I, I've been in the ministry for like 35 years.
Okay.
And my wife and I, we started about 6 years ago on Miami Street. She owns an insurance company on Miami Street. So we started this church in the back of her insurance company with 4 people.
Wow.
And our heart, our passion was to help people that maybe don't feel comfortable in other churches.
Okay.
And we work a lot with street people.
Okay.
We feed people after church.
Okay.
We give them groceries. We give them clothes. And we don't split hairs. It's all about Jesus. And so we've done that for about 6 years now. And we just ran out of room.
So you grew from 4 people to how many?
Well, it doesn't sound like a lot, but 50. But when you're in a small building, that's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
And a lot of what we do is outside of the church. We'll give out food on the streets and visit the homeless and that sort of thing. So we were just out of room, and we were praying. And I believe in the kingdom principle of seed time and harvest. Okay. You plant your seed, you give it some time, just like a farmer. I grew up out in the country, and the harvest will come. And it happened. We're a poor church. If I have $15 in the offering, it's a good Sunday. Right. So everything we receive outside of our church folks for the most part. Okay. And there's a family in this area that said, "Hey, we want to help you find a building." Okay. They knew what we did and they loved it. And Jovi's Bar, what was formerly known as Jovi's Bar on Miami Street, came available.
It was up for sale.
It was for sale, and a lot of things took place. God showed His face for us, and we are now going to have church in a bar. Okay. Starting Easter Sunday.
Sunday. Okay, so today's Good Friday. So Jesus dies on the cross on Good Friday, and 3 days later He's raised from the grave, and so you're going to have Resurrection Sunday and resurrect this bar building to be a church.
We've remodeled it somewhat, but we still give it the bar look, and we're going to celebrate the resurrection of Christ.
That's so cool. Okay, so what is church going to look like in a bar? So like the trajectory change moment was you ran out of room and started praying about it, and these people offered to help, and you bought the bar. So now what's the Inspired going to look like there?
It doesn't change a lot because we're a church of addicts.
Okay.
We really are. Addicts, recovered addicts would be the majority of our church. And so it's kind of I guess it's a funny story. We have one couple that was that's coming to our church that was kicked out of this bar, and so we're letting them back in.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So, yeah, that's kind of what it'll look like. Like I said, my wife and I take turns preaching, and she does the music. And,
wow.
It's going to be good.
So every Sunday. Okay, so what time, if anybody wants to come check out your church on Sunday, what time service going to be?
Service starts at 11 o'clock, and then after the service, this is another thing. We have a kitchen now. We never had that before. We're going to have a free meal for those that attend the service. So 11 o'clock this Sunday.
That's
Jovi's
awesome.
Bar, 1905 Miami Street.
1905 Miami Street on Sunday. Okay, and so, but I also wanted to ask you about life before you got in ministry. So you have quite a story from what TJ tells me.
Yes.
So I want to hear that story.
Okay. I grew up in a Christian home. My dad was a policeman.
Okay.
Eventually an Elkhart, eventually a undercover narcotics agent. So I had to be really good. I didn't do so well. When I got in high school, I grew up like any kid, going to church, going to Sunday school. I felt a call when I was young, probably junior high, felt a call to the ministry. But when I got in high school, like a lot of high school guys, I played sports, but I got involved in not real heavily, but drugs and alcohol. Went cruising on the weekends, partying, that kind of thing. I got a scholarship then to Bethel College to play baseball and tennis. Great college, but I decided to do my own thing, and I became an addict. An alcoholic. I drank all the time. I did drugs. I sold drugs. Here I'm selling drugs at a Christian college. And still was functional, and there are those who can do this and be functional for a while. And so I played baseball, went to school, played tennis, and my drug addiction kind of took over. And my parents, I lost my relationship at that time with my parents. Quit school early. Didn't do so well in sports. Your timing gets off when you have chemical dependency. Yeah. And so one night, there used to be a place called the Music Box in town. It was a big nightclub. You can tell how old I am. And I remember leaving there, and I was inebriated, and I was driving my car, and I hit something. And being a young guy in his 20s, I was kind of stupid, and so I just took off. Next thing I know, a police car comes by and stops me, and did the whole thing of searching me, and very nice. Matter of fact, side note, I later became one of his pastors. This police officer arrested me, so I think maybe God has a sense of humor. But he arrested me, and I went to the Mishawaka. It was the old jail. Before they built the new one, the Mishawaka jail. And I'd never been in any trouble like this before, so I was really scared. And
you're like college age.
I'm college age, and they took me in, and I had trying to remember, I had pot in one coat pocket. My car was full of drugs and drug paraphernalia, and I'm thinking, man, I'm done. I'm toast at this point. And so, they ask you when you get arrested, take everything out of your pockets. So I used to smoke, took my cigarettes out, my lighter, that cut my wallet, but I thought, I am not taking this bag of pot out of my pocket. Wow. They could find that on their own. I'm already in trouble. I knew they were going to find it, so I thought. I spent the night in jail. Next day, a buddy bailed me out, and they gave me my coat back, and I got in the car, and the drugs were still in my coat.
Wow.
So evidently, I don't know, that's a God thing, and you'll understand that in a moment. That was a God thing. So then my car was impounded, right? So I'm thinking, oh no, I'm gonna,
They're gonna find
really
all the stuff
get
in the car.
And I can't remember the order of everything, but got my car out of the impoundment, and all my drugs were still in it. All my, rollers, paraphernalia, bong, all that kind of stuff. So hard to tell was a druggie, isn't it? Yeah. So that was my life, and I remember being in my apartment in the bathroom, taking a bath. Because I had hit something, it was hit and run. I'd hit something. I had glass in my head, little pieces of shattered glass. And I remember taking a bath, taking that out, and then I started remembering. I think God put this all before me, my life as a kid, and how I went to church, how I gave my life to Christ when I was young, and those sort of things. And I just began to weep, and I was a tough guy, so for me to weep was kind of out of the ordinary. And I asked Christ right there to come into my life and to start me on a new journey. And I told him, whether I go to jail or not, I want to serve you. So hope you have a sense of humor, and your doctrine is not too messed up. I might have been baptized and saved at the same time since I was in the bathtub. I don't know how that works. Yeah. So eventually I started going back to church. Again, I was in my 20s then, and my church, I guess, college and career group backed me up. This was in Wakarusa. That's where I grew up, so I went back home and went to court. This took months. Went to court, and when I got up in front of the judge, and I had confidence whether I went to jail or didn't go to jail, Christ was going to be with me, because I've been growing in my relationship with Christ as a young believer. And the judge basically said, "You're lucky, young man, because the police officer didn't show up, and we can't find some of the evidence to convict you." So all I got was left of center.
Wow.
Where I could have gotten, drunk driving, possession, hit and run.
Did you ever find out what you hit?
It was a parked car. That I did find. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I'm like the whole time waiting. I was worried it was a person. I'm sorry. That's what I was worried about.
I'm glad you asked. No, it was a parked car. Parked car. And so after that, I kept my promise. But I'm not perfect. I've screwed up throughout the years, just like everyone.
What, are you, a human or something?
Pretty much, and then maybe then some. And so I went into ministry, went into Youth for Christ, a youth pastor, senior pastor. So I've done all the different ministry. So I've tried to keep my part of the bargain. God's kept his, and I'm doing good trying to keep mine. And then years later, when I was about 40, I started getting sick in my stomach. I had all these pains. Well, I was rushed to the hospital, and to find out I had cancer.
Oh my goodness!
So the story continues if we have time for this.
Yeah. No,
I had cancer, and they took out like softball-size tumors out of my small intestine. I found out I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So for 10 years, I had 2 surgeries. I did every chemotherapy, radiation out there, and they couldn't really find anything to stop the cancer. So eventually I was just going to die from the cancer. But I asked the Lord during this time, I said, Lord, all I want, and I get this, I'm willing to have a short life, a young life. I'm okay with that. I've made peace with that. But I want to preach on Sundays. Can you just give me strength? Because when you do chemo and all that stuff,
you're just weak.
Oh, it makes you sick, yeah. And every Sunday I had enough energy. During the week I might have been sick, but every Sunday I had the energy to preach and be the pastor of the church. And the story continues. I had some people come up to me in about 10 years and say, Chuck, and these are the kind of people that don't do this a lot, so I knew it was true. They said, God's really been speaking to me. He's going to heal you. And I had like 3 different confirmations of people I really believed when they said it. And my oncologist said, Chuck, there's these new drug studies. There's this one drug study that there's only 25 people in the country they're going to let in on this drug study, and you're one of them. We're going to get you in. I said, oh, okay, kind of, and our church prayed about it, and sure enough, the whole country, I was one of the candidates for this drug study. And so after about 3 treatments, my cancer was gone.
Wow.
So I believe God healed me. I know he uses medicine. I believe that, and doctors. But so God healed me of cancer as well. So he just wants to keep me around for some reason. I'm not always sure why, but he's keeping me around.
Yeah.
And so now, like I said, my wife and I pastor this church on the street. And just want to minister to anybody who comes in.
I really feel like this being on Good Friday is a cool time to say, see, I told you I'd get choked up. It just feels a lot of times like the ... time in someone's life that turns them around is messy like the cross.
Yes,
it's just messy like the cross. And so I guess I feel like I want to say, if you're facing a messy time, don't be mad about it. Don't fight it. Just die to it. Just like Jesus died on the cross, just die to it, because God wants to resurrect something that's so much better.
That's right.
When Jesus was on earth, right, he just, he did things like walk on water and stop storms and all that stuff. But, when the apostles and people saw him afterwards, he just appeared in rooms. So I'm thinking he walked through walls at that point, and he didn't do that stuff before. And you resurrected without the cancer is different, and you resurrected without the drug use is different. And So
those are my inspirational ... moments.
Yeah.
And I'm excited what he has for us in the future.
I can't wait for your Sunday. You have to keep in touch. You guys on Facebook, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to talk to Chuck, I know that he would invite you down to the bar.
Church at the bar.
Church at the bar. So for you to go Sunday if you want, or share this posting with somebody else that you think would benefit and would maybe want to go to their church on Sunday, or just have coffee, or clearly they're getting supported by people not at the church. So if you want to be a supporter,
we would love that.
Message us here if you need details. Is there a website for the church or anything like that?
It's I'm not real good with the internet thing.
Yeah,
it's MiamiVillageChurchSB.org.
MiamiVillageChurchSB.org. We will link it in the remarks below the video here. So thanks for watching Facebook. Chuck, thanks for sharing.
You.
God bless you.
It, yes.
And y'all have a blessed Easter. Bye-bye.